Live platform on which we discuss all things love, marriage, relationships, and sex. They call me Uncle WHYTE. I am the CEO of Roverman Productions, but I am also very committed to helping you become your best self. Now, let me tell you something exciting that we have for Roverman. On the 1st and 2nd of July, and then on the 7th and 8th of July, we would show my latest play, The Woman in the Bathroom. The Woman in the Bathroom at the National Theatre. So if you happen to be in Accra, or you can make a trip to Accra just for this, we'll be so happy to see you. And if you're able to make it and you belong to this platform, as soon as you get to the gate, just mention your name, tell the people you are part of the ENCORE family, and you'll be given the kind of protocol that we have reserved for you. So the people to ask, the names to ask for, Kabute at the gate, Ronnie, and then who else is likely to be at the gate? I think these two should be more than enough. Once again, you are welcome. Now, before I go on with my presentation today, and today we're going to talk about something that is very personal, childlessness in marriage. I'd like to acknowledge some of the friends who have joined us in the studio. I love to have people join us in the studio, but before I acknowledge those who are here, let me also acknowledge those who are out there. Those of you who have tuned in, those of you who have logged on, those of you who are online right now. We just picked 7 of you. Every week we'll try and acknowledge somebody so you know that we appreciate the kind of community you guys have built around this wonderful platform. So Alberta Sapon, Jennifer Young, Tiwa Opoku Akoto. Now Tiwa, there's a Tiwa in my latest play, so make sure you come and watch it. Francisca Zanel and Patience Che, Darlington Della, and Mark Best. Mark Best. We know you are online. We know you are part of the community, and we celebrate you. And now let me quickly come in-house and welcome a few people here. So let's see. Candice, let's start. The person you've seen on your screen now, that handsome face, belongs to...
My name is Dennis Donko.
Come again?
My name is Dennis Donko.
Yeah, Dennis. Dennis, there's a very special reason why Dennis is here, but we will not diverge it now. Dennis, you are welcome.
Thank you.
Next to Dennis is...
Emmanuel Lechu.
Lechu belongs to our group, one of the hardworking guys there. And then one of the latest members of our group, the beautiful...
Amakumi.
Ama, you are welcome. And then another member of our group, they're very hardworking.
I'm Sandra Martin.
Yeah. Sandra,
yes,
no, smile again, because I think you wanted to show. And then we also have a special guest this today. Please, the name?
Letitia Lawete.
Letitia. Now, what you need to know about Letitia is that I am going to be the chairman for her wedding next month. So Letitia, I am so happy you could make it. We'll mention the bridegroom to be yet, but we will unveil it at a proper time. Now, another guest we have who is not on camera is one of the dearest friends that I have. She's a soldier in the U.S. Army. But she's not here as a soldier in the Army. She's here as a family. And I'm talking about Efia. So, Efia, you are welcome. She did it. And then, of course, my brother, Mr. Rekon of Renko, is every time with us here, and we appreciate his presence. Well, and whilst at that, let me say thank you to the team, to Amma, to Ken, to Niger, Kwesi Niger, and then to no, Boama made it. Boama made it of the Netherlands, of the Netherlands, and then Kabute of Dasum, and then Abiziga, and then we have Kanison, and then the boss, the evergreen Kwamina. We are always happy to have you. Well, let's go on with our presentation. We're talking about childlessness. And I'd like to begin with a story. The story is told of a king, an aging king of a big, prosperous kingdom, who knew that his days were numbered. He was coming to the end of his life and needed to get the kingdom a successor, someone to succeed him. The challenge, he has no children. He's childless. So he decides, I will not leave this throne vacant. I would have to find a way, someone to come and take over. So he decides to run a competition for the youth of the kingdom. And he says, since we are an agricultural country, let's test the people on whether what their skills are for cultivating seed. So they do a series of competitions, and they narrow it down to 10 young men. So these were the finalists. And each of them is given a seed of maize to go and plant. And the king says, in 3 weeks, you would have to come and show me what you've been able to do with this seed. So the guys take the seed away. All of them are very, very excited. They go get pots for it, put the seed in, do whatever they can. And in the days, a few days later, there were reports all around the kingdom about how some of these seeds were doing well and things. Well, in one house, one boy is in tears. He's one of the finalists. His seed has not sprouted. Whilst everybody is reporting that my seed has sprouted, his seed has not sprouted. In tears, he goes to his parents and says, this is what is happening. And the father asks, did you do it right? Did you select the seed carefully and select the soil carefully? Have you been watering it? He said, I've done everything, but my seed won't sprout. Then the neighbors hear about the plight and tell the parents, the boy, that go and tell your parents to take you to the market and go and buy a seed of maize. After all, a seed of maize is a seed of maize. How would anybody know whether the seed you have is different from what the king gave you? So he goes to tell the parents that, well, they say I should go to the market and buy a seed. And the parents said, no. Is this the one the king gave you? He said, yes. So then maybe you are not meant to be the king. So we'll just stay with it. Come the day, we'll go to the king and say, yours did not sprout. The day comes, and the boy with his flower pot, with nothing showing, joins the others at the kingdom. And all the boys had impressive seedlings to show, except this boy. And he is afraid because he thinks that the king is surely going to punish me for wasting his seed. They line up, the king comes in, he goes from one boy to the other, and he asks each boy, is this the result of the seed I gave you? And the boys will say, yes. So well done, impressive. Goes, and the boy is at the very end. Gets to the boy and asks, what do we have here? And the boy bursts into tears. He said, where's your seedling? He said, Your Majesty, my seed did not sprout. I have failed. And in the hall, everybody's condemning this boy, useless boy. You've wasted the king's thing. And they were waiting to see what punishment the king will pronounce on this boy. And the king turns to the people and says, my people, behold your new king. And everybody said, why would you make that boy who failed to even cultivate one seed the king of this kingdom? And the king says, I gave all the boys boiled seed. I boiled the seed before I gave to them. So now, ask the other boys how they managed to get a boiled seed to sprout. How they managed to get a boiled seed to sprout. Now, I begin my presentation on childlessness with this, because I believe that some marriages were meant to be childless, but they have children now. When they get to heaven, they will have a big job explaining to God, how come a marriage that was meant to be childless have children? There are individuals who are supposed to be childless, and they have children. So when they go to heaven, God is going to ask them, I did not give you children. Where from the children you are presenting? And that is going to be a very interesting time. Let's be careful that we don't make a seed that has been boiled sprout. Well, back now to my topic, childlessness. I'd like to begin by talking about what is worse than childlessness. Well, let me define childlessness. Childlessness is not having a child after many years, a number of years of marriage. Technically, they look at 2 years of marriage. If you haven't had a child, then we begin to say, well, the marriage is childless. But an individual who is of a certain age and does not have a child in the 40s, we call the person, especially for the ladies' 40s. For the men, you can't be too sure, because there are 80-year-old men who are claiming children, or who are having to accept ownership of children. They are like, sometimes when I hear some of those stories of an old man who's just fathered a child, it's like somebody firing an empty gun and saying, I have killed an animal from your gun, from the shore. But well, so what is worse than being childless? One, going outside your marriage to have children because your husband is unfertile or is not fruitful. That is worse. When you go outside the marriage, and this is for a woman, going outside the marriage to have children, just because the husband is not, does not have what it takes. That is worse than owning up to your childless state. Two, going outside your marriage to have children and giving your husband the impression that they are his children. Now, the first one, going outside your marriage to have children, sometimes the wife and the husband have an understanding. Look, I want to cover you, so I'm going to go to so and so. But this is a case where the man has no idea. And this is what happens when people go for DNA. That's when we discover. 3, going outside your marriage to have children just because your wife has not given you children yet. That is worse than being childless. 4, having children when you are not married. Just because you've been told that your biological clock is ticking. That is worse than remaining childless. And 5, having children you cannot raise. Then you may as well have remained childless. Now, childlessness presents us with several dilemmas, several moral dilemmas. 1, your wife is not giving you a child. Should you go outside your marriage to have a child with another woman? That's a moral dilemma. 2, your husband is not making you pregnant. Should you go and sleep with another man just to make you pregnant? That is a moral dilemma that the people in childless marriages face and confront. 3, you are not married. You are a lady. The years are passing. There are men all over you. Should you have a child with one of them? So you too can say that I have a child. It's a moral dilemma. 4, you marry a man or a woman who already has children. You don't have any of your own. Should you insist on having a child of your own with this person? That is a moral dilemma. Now let's look at why some people are childless. 1, there are those who are childless by choice. They decide that I don't want to have children. It's a choice that we don't permit anyone to have in Ghana. But out there in Europe, in the North America, there are people who can decide, I don't want any children. It's a legitimate choice. And when somebody is childless by choice, we call that child-free. We don't call that childlessness. That is child-free. 2, medical reasons. Medical reasons. For the men, the medical reasons could be as follows. It would include impotency, disorders with ejaculation. There are those who ejaculate even before they've been able to do any penetration. I call them footballers who get injured during warm-up before the match happens. Inability to produce sperms, and then low sperm count or defective sperms. For the women, inability to produce ova, blockage of the fallopian tubes, unsafe abortion in an earlier year, and fibroid. 3, social reasons. The social reasons could be that you haven't just found somebody you want to settle down with. That's a social reason. So you would want to have children, but you'd also want to have a child in the context of a marital home, and you haven't found a spouse here. That's a social reason. 4, for principle's sake. This when a lady who is in her 30s, not married, decides that I still won't have a child until I am married, and the marriage is not coming, and so remains that way. Or a man who is married and knows that my wife is not fertile, my wife is cannot give me a child, but still decides that I'm not going to go outside. So he is childless by principle. 5, pursuit of self-development. This is where somebody suspends having children so they can go to school, they can advance their career, and it's a legitimate choice to make. 6, religious reasons. We don't see that much in Ghana, but except in the Catholic Church, where the pastor and the fathers have the vow of celibacy, and the nuns also. 7, cultural reasons. If you go to any major palace in Ghana, you'll find people there who are doomed to be childless for their lives. They are the eunuchs in the kingdom, and I call them, they are childless for cultural reasons. 8, financial and economic challenges. There are people who are childless because they haven't had their breakthrough yet. I mean, their budget doesn't even cover they themselves, much less to think of expanding it to cover somebody else. 9, those in long-distance relationships. And there are people who are in long-distance relationships who have been in this relationship for more than 5 years, sometimes for 10 years. But the distances are still there, and they remain childless because of the distances. 10, personal sacrifice. Personal sacrifice. This is where somebody sacrifices having children just so they can take care of somebody else. Usually ailing parents, or they marry somebody who already has children and decide, okay, let me make these children my children and raise them. Or sometimes this person is the only successful person in his family, and he has younger siblings, and decides, I'll dedicate my resources to helping my siblings get on in life. So that is a sacrifice made for the sake of other people. 11, damage to the reproductive organs. We talked about a bit of that when we hinted at the medical reasons. And then spiritual reasons. Now, spiritual reasons, that is a very difficult one to look at, because normally when people are childless, they don't look at any other reason apart from the spiritual. But the spiritual reasons is just one of many. Yes, there could be some spiritual reasons behind childlessness. 13, lack of knowledge. Lack of knowledge. Now, this one especially shows up in a couple's failure to take full advantage of a woman's monthly cycle. You know, A woman is not fertile every time you have sex with her. She is fertile for a certain period in the month. And if you miss that period, whatever you do, every goal you score is offside. You know, it just won't matter. And unfortunately, in my counseling, I've come upon couples who, anytime the woman is ovulating, they are fighting. So they can't get it on. And then they come back together and have passionate sex, except that that window of opportunity is gone. And all they are doing is scoring offside goals. And then 14, lack of regular sex. It's amazing that there are, even from the early days of marriage, there are couples who are not having regular sex. And so they lower and limit the opportunities of making a pregnancy. And in my counseling, there are at least 3 couples who now have children just because I told them, have sex every day for 1 month. Every day, whether you feel like it or not, have it. Go do it. Go and mark the register. You regard yourself as marking the register. Go and do it for 1 month. Every day. Every day, get it on. I am realizing that the unmarried ones are so excited. Yeah, so I can have sex for 1 month. You wait until you get married, then you understand what it means. Now, I think we will now go on. So we've looked at why some people are childless. Now let me move on quickly to the effect of childlessness. The effect of childlessness. I'd like to talk about the effect of childlessness first on the man. And then I would then look at the effect of childlessness on a woman. And then I'll look at the effect of childlessness on a marriage. On the marriage. So the man. The man loses respect in society. He is held in huge contempt, especially in the traditional areas, in the underdeveloped areas. In the big cities and in the sophisticated towns, nobody cares whether you have a child or not. But if you go to a village and you're a man and you don't have a child, any conversation you enter into, somebody will shut you down. Because they don't regard you as fully a man. 2, that leads to a man questioning his own manhood. And it's a dangerous thing when a man finds himself questioning his own manhood. Because whenever a man finds himself questioning his manhood, he becomes dangerous unto himself and unto society. And that leads me to 3. Again, when he's questioning his manhood, it leads him to become a philanderer. This is when he sleeps with anything in skirt and blouse because he wants to prove that I am a man. I am a man. And in proving that, he sleeps with every woman. Every woman. 4, he becomes a polygamist. He is not, you're married to a woman, maybe you love your wife, the children are not coming, and then the pressure comes, you need to prove that, look, I can score a goal, I'm a striker, I'm properly a striker. I'm not one of those they buy with so much money and I'd never score a goal in a season. Me too, I can score. And so they go on to take another wife. The interesting thing is this. In most cases where the men go and take a second wife, the woman gives them a child very quickly. You know why? 5. 5, the man takes to alcohol. They takes to alcohol. Again, his manhood is shattered. He has nothing to hold on to. He gives himself fully to alcohol. What about the effect on the woman? 1, the woman is constantly under pressure from her in-laws and from society. For a woman in Ghana, being childless, even when you are not married, is hell. It is worse if you are married. In Ghana, after the first year of marriage, your people are asking you, have you become pregnant? There's nothing like, oh, we want to plan our children. We want to marry for 3 years before we have children. Not in Ghana. They won't give you that option. So the pressure on women to have children is immense. Immense. Two, because of that pressure, a woman puts herself under extreme stress and frustration. Every monthly period, every time she sees the monthly flow, she gets into depression because it means that, oh, it didn't happen this month too. It's a terrible, terrible thing for a woman. Next, the woman is ridiculed and loses respect. In many places, when she's talking, they make a woman feel that you are not fully a woman because you haven't given a child. Isn't it funny in Ghana? When a woman is unmarried, they say you are not fully a woman until you marry. Then you marry, and then they say you are not fully a woman until you've had a child. Then you have one child. No, you are not fully a woman until you've had 5. The goalposts keep changing and changing and changing. And then the woman is always tense and sorrowful. If you find a woman sorrowful, quite often, this is it. The funny thing is that there are women who are blessed in every other respect, apart from this area. And yet they make this thing override everything. And finally, the woman may give herself to adultery. Sometimes the mature people in your family will come to you and tell you that, hey, go and pass somewhere. Go and do something. And sometimes they would arrange for a man to sleep with this woman so that she can have a child to present in her marriage. Let's look at the effect of childlessness on marriage. 1, stress and frustration. It's such a stress because people are always bombarding you. What is wrong? What is wrong with you? What is happening? What is happening? When is it going to happen? And it's not fun. 2, there are always constant fights and misunderstanding in the marriage, all because of the pressure coming from out there. Incidentally, it is a constant fight that sometimes prolong the period of childlessness because it also makes sure that intimacy does not happen and therefore the children cannot come. 3, sex becomes mechanical and unfulfilling. Can you imagine you knowing that this evening I must have sex? But I must have sex not because I'm in the mood on anything, but because we are making a baby. It's not fun. It's not fun. And it takes the joy out of it. 4, childlessness in a marriage breeds suspicion. It breeds suspicion. 5, affairs. On both sides, not just on the man's side, on the woman's side also. 6, the likelihood that a second woman will be introduced into this marriage is high. In some cases, by the man's people. They will bring a girl from the village and say, well, you are not giving us children, so let's try this one. 7, it empowers the in-laws to come and interfere in the marriage. They come in and talk by heart and talk about any nonsense. And 8, finally 8, it could lead to divorce. A lot of marriages have broken just because there were no children in there. How can a couple handle childlessness? How can a couple handle childlessness? 1, the couple need to affirm for themselves over and over that marriage is complete with or without children. Marriage is complete with or without children. So the mere fact that you don't have children doesn't mean you don't have a marriage. It doesn't mean you can't have a wonderful and a happy marriage. 2, the couple need to close ranks. It is a problem of you as a couple. It is not his problem or her problem. It is not that he has a low sperm count or she has fibroid and therefore cannot conceive. No. It is our problem as a couple. And see it that way. Don't even go out there to talk about whose fault it is. That is neither here nor there. It's not important. 3, make it a point to have sex every day for a month. it will work wonder. Hey, by the way, I'm talking about married couples. I am not. If you are dating and courting, you must be childless. Remain that way. But if not, then it helps because you never know her period, her cycle. You never know when the window of opportunity is just right. 4, make sure you don't fall prey to false pastors and juju men. Please, make sure. Don't listen to all the nonsense about an auntie has taken your womb and gone to hide it on an oak tree. You know, it is nonsense. Or has hidden it in a pot and buried it under something, a mahogany tree in the forest. Please stay out of it. Trust me, the chances of that is very high. 5, seek medical help. Seek medical help. Go see a specialist. Go see somebody who is a specialist in this. And go together. Normally what happens is that it is the woman who goes. Husband and wife go together, sit in front of the doctor. Tell the doctor what your situation is. The doctor will help you. 6, explore medical and scientific options, including surrogacy. Which is not common in Ghana. There are all these assisted reproductive technology. Please explore some of them. 7, you can adopt. You can adopt formally or you can adopt informally as well. 8, cherish and deepen your love and your bond. The fact that you don't have children doesn't mean you can't love each other. Indeed, you can love each other so much more. 9, the husband should protect the wife from attacks and pressure from his family. Because sometimes, more often than not, it is the man's family who come and make the noise. And the husband should be able to stop them. And finally, 10, take full advantage of your childlessness. Childlessness can be turned into a blessing and a huge opportunity. That brings me to my next point. And the next session is opportunities for a childless couple. Opportunities for a childless couple. 1, it creates opportunities for you to pursue your interests and your passion, which a couple with children may not have because they have to always think of the children. The two of you can jump into a car and just go and travel and go and do whatever else you have to do. You don't have to worry about who is picking the children from school, who is going to babysit the children. No, you just go. It's as simple as that. You lock your door, you are gone. It's as simple as that. 2, take time to travel and have fun. Go around, travel. Go around the world. If you can't go around the world, go through Ghana. I mean, that is fun. One Christmas, instead of sitting home, just get into the car and decide, you know something, we are just going to drive. We're just going to drive. We'll sleep from hotel to hotel. We'll paint the whole Ghana with our sex. Every region will have sex. No, we'll leave a mark in every region. Oprah. Yeah, we'll be here. 3, it is you also have the chance to help the children of relatives, of poor relatives. And 4, you have the chance to help and raise children from poor homes. Remember this, parenthood is not about biology. It is about love and caring. And 5, take risks to grow and advance in life. Take risks to grow and advance in life because, hey, you don't really have to worry about the children's school fees and what happens. 6, lead and mentor young people. A lot of couples with children may not have that opportunity, but you can open your home to young people and mentor them and help them. 7, set up charity to help orphans and the needy. In 2014, 48% of married childless people aged at least 55 who had wills gave something to to charity. 48% of them. This compares with only 12% of parents, of couples who had children, 12% of them, and who gave anything to charity. But 48% of married couples, aged at least 55, gave so much to charity. Now, at this point, I'd like to tell you why at the beginning I said this is a very personal topic. So I'm going to share my story with you. I'm a childless man. I don't have biological children. I've been married for 35 years. I don't have biological children. It doesn't mean I don't have children. I have a lot of children. At the beginning, we sought medical help from two of the leading specialists in Ghana. I won't put their names out. But these were the two leading people in this field. And we saw them at the government hospital where they were, and they also had private clinics, and we saw them there as well. In addition, we prayed like crazy. We prayed like crazy. Within that period, we had friends coming to us to tell us that, oh, you know, there's a powerful man at Koforidua. There's a man at Nsawam. There's a man here. There's a man here. They wanted to take us to shrines and to juju men and to all sorts of people. I rebuffed all of them and threw all of them out. The pressure was immense. The ridicule was daily. It was daily. Let me tell you an experience. There's a boy who Florence and I raised. And then he gets married. And then his wife delivers. And that day, when the wife delivers, he comes into my house at 4:30 a.m. He starts blowing the horn from the junction. So we were in bed when we heard this car blowing the horn loud. So we wake up. What's happening? Who is this? Who is disturbing in this neighborhood? And the neighborhood was normally a quiet one. Then the car screeches to a stop at my gate. The guy jumps out of his car and shouts at the gate for everybody to hear. Ebo, I'm a man. I'm a man now. I go and say, what are you talking about? He said, I'm a man. My wife has given birth. My wife has given birth, so I'm a man. There's a boy I had raised. And he knew that I didn't have children. So what was he trying to tell me? Well, what helped us? First, we reminded ourselves that marriage is complete with or without children. That was the first thing. The second thing was to make sure that we did not allow anybody to run our lives. You make a mistake when you give people the chance to run your life. I made it clear that nobody could be more concerned about my childlessness than me and my wife. So you can't come into my house and mourn more than the bereaved. And whenever anybody came mourning more than me and my wife, I asked them, what is your interest? What is your interest? You know, sometimes when we give people the chance and they say, oh, we are just concerned. Shut up. You are not concerned. They just want to push you in the wrong way. No. And at a certain point, we came to a resolution. Because around this time, we were helping people and they were getting pregnant. We were praying for people and they were getting, my wife prays for people and they get pregnant. And things like that. So when all that wasn't working for us, we just decided, you know something, we don't care what is behind this. We are tired of going around looking for help. We're going to dedicate our childlessness to God. We're just going to give God our childlessness and ask him to use it. And oh, it's been wonderful. Indeed, but before then, let me give you this. My mother comes to the house one day and begins to talk about children. And so I go to her and say, Mama, let me ask you a question. If Florence was your daughter, and after 5 years of marriage, she hasn't had a child, and her mother-in-law came to the house and kept asking for children, and she came to you to tell you what their mother-in-law is doing, what would you feel? That was the last time my mother referred to children in our marriage. But that is why I say that the couple should close their ranks the man, please be active. When your sisters come and your mother come and they are dropping hints and cussing in windows and things like that, don't just sit there and keep quiet. Confront them. Let them shut up. Because your family cannot be that much more concerned than you and your wife. Well, today, Florence and I are parents to hundreds. Parents to hundreds. And there are many, many young people who are living their dreams, who have a life, just because Florence and I are childless. And because we are childless, we could have the time and the resources to focus on these children and help them get there. That's what we mean by handing our relationship, our situation over to God. There are a lot of young people doing very well for themselves today because Florence and I are childless. Oh, plus the fact that we get to do incredible things. We get to do incredible things. You remember I told you about traveling Ghana? Well, we've done it. We've done it. And if birds in certain hotels all across Ghana can talk, they will have some very interesting stories. And with that, and with that, I bring this presentation to an end. I'd like to thank you very much for staying with us. Now we'll pause and then take your questions and your comments. So let the community come alive right now. We'll be right back after this short break. Remember, the woman in the bathroom on the 1st and 2nd of July at the National Theatre.
The preparation has been very grueling.
Great play, great production. Rehearsals is still ongoing, and trust me, this has been one of the baddest rehearsals that have been.
The character I played in the woman in the bathroom is that of Mr. Ba. Mr. Ba is a big, dollars,
A bright, colorful state.
I'm tired of it. We have shoe, then we have Coco, and me, I'm a big shoe.
Hey yo, Miyaki, tonight I'm in church. In this world,
Honey, I have laid the bed. Baby, honey, tomorrow.
Thank you very much for staying with us, and we'll now take your comments and your questions. So let the community come alive.
Okay, Uncle, we have a lot of comments coming in. Uncle, beautiful shirt. Uncle, I love your shirt. Uncle, your shirt complements your complexion. Uncle, your shirt is trending. In fact, Uncle, it's all about your shirt.
Well, I like my shirt too. So.
Hi, Uncle. How are you doing? I need some advice. I'm getting to you from the US, so this is the only way I can talk to you.
Okay. Okay.
All right, Chrissy Efford. That's a very interesting comment. He says, make it a point to have sex every day. Wow, this is a World Cup tournament.
Kwesi, I won't mind you. Today is okay, let's go.
So Mafando Caesar says, Uncle, you're a strong man. God will vindicate you. You promised never to talk about your childlessness when Bernard Nassara interviewed you on Joy FM. You have not kept your promise, but I think it's worth sharing your story again. I have positive energy anytime I listen to you. Thank you for your sacrifice.
Well, thanks.
Uncle, you share your life freely and honestly to the point that we feel so special when you call us sons and daughters. Thank you, Uncle.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, let's keep the thing.
Yes, so he says, my wife asked me if I have a will, and she has bought a land without letting me know, and I told her about it. But I told her to get her money back because we have more than 100 plots in Ghana. But she didn't 4 years after I told her, and she built a house on it, but wants to give it to her mother. Can I divorce her for this reason?
No. Oh, please don't do that. Please don't do that. Don't do that. I think she wanted to do something for her mother. That is okay. Let her go ahead and do that. Yes, can we?
Uncle, talking about childless parents painting hotels in Ghana with their sex. I pray they don't come to the hotel at my backyard. Because if they paint it, it won't paint because it's very dirty.
Hey, Jesus.
Oh, that was it. Oh, people.
Wow. Okay, I hear you. Let them write it on the hotel. I don't know. No painting here. All right. Any other? If not,
Kweku says.
Yes.
Kweku Frank says, I heard Uncle Ebo's name when I was 10 years to 15 years. It's only today that I have seen him. God bless you, Uncle Ebo White.
Well, Kweku, you're welcome. Well, it's possible that your parents heard my name when they were also 10. So you're welcome. All right, can we go in-house? Anyone in-house with a comment, with a question that we can take? Let's see if there's anyone.
Ken.
Yes.
Ken always
Uncle,
has a
you indicated that you should have sex every day for a month.
For childless
couples, yes. The point is that
that excludes you. That excludes you.
Oh, I want to add a point.
Okay, right, okay.
It must be good sex.
No, it must be sex. Let it be just sex.
Okay, it will just be in and out, and nothing will happen.
That is not sex. You know how I'm talking about proper sex. No, but I get what you mean in that. Don't do it half-heartedly.
Yes, yes.
I mean, give yourself fully to this, and don't let every sexual encounter be about having children, because when that happens, the woman gets tense, and it also closes the opportunity even more. It makes it difficult for the woman to get pregnant when she's always tense and hoping that is this going to get result in pregnancy? Is it going to result in? So that eagerness to be pregnant is sometimes the reason why it delays. And when the two of them relax and just enjoy each other and enjoy the fact that, hey, our marriage is complete with or without children, some interesting things happen. One of the couples I dealt with had been married for 15 years. And that's when they came into my sphere. And with just this advice and just saying that go home, don't worry about the children. You are husband and wife, just go. Every evening, take your bath, go into your room, put off the television, and just let chemistry and biology take its course. And 1.5 years later, they had a baby girl.
Oh.
Yeah, they had a baby girl, and it was wonderful.
So, Uncle, in your earlier submission, you mentioned that some people are destined to be childless. I want to ask how you can know if you're one, and if not, what do you do so they don't spend years crying over what is not meant to be?
I think that in life, take your life every day at a time. Never waste energy crying over what is not. So, for instance, you're a lady, you definitely would love to get married, but marriage is not coming. Don't spend life every morning crying and being morose over the fact that you are not married. It will come when it will come, and don't worry about it. So make your life full with whatever you have today. This is my life today. Let me make the most of it today. Today, I am not married. So what advantage does not being married bring me? It means I don't have to worry about what to cook for him. So I don't have to do anything. What else can I do? Can I go back to school? Can I go and watch that program and call my girlfriends and go, let's go have fun? That is what you can do today. You're married, the children are not coming. Hey, the two of you love each other, cherish your bond, and each day take it one day at a time. And great things come out of it. Take it from me. I know what it means when you stop crying over that which has not been given to you. It is such a joy, and it is such power, because it enables you to accomplish so much more.
Uncle, beautiful shirts. True, you didn't born some of us, but you've been a father through and through. Happy Father's Day in advance. Thank you for sharing your life with us. Nanaya.
Thanks, Nanaya.
Our sister says, Uncle, thanks for the good work you are doing. I'm about to refresh my relationship again, which went offline for a year. Now I have learned a lot from you.
I'm happy for you and for the other party. I hope that person also gets exposed to some of the material you've been exposed to, so that the two of you will make progress even faster.
Nee says, please, Uncle, this our culture of children being your legacy. Can you really be married and not have children?
Yes, I'm married, I don't have children. But trust me, I will leave such a huge legacy. I'll leave such a huge legacy. This whole issue of children are your legacy is the reason why some people even get depressed when they have only girls. Because they know as soon as they get married, your name is gone. If your legacy is only going to be children who bear your name, and then there's something wrong with you. No, my legacy will be in the works I do, in the impact I make on society. And guess what? I am in the happy place where now children adopt me as father. And they change their name and take on White. So it isn't everybody you meet who is called White who is my biological, but has White. That child has adopted me. No, we've got to come to the point where we reinterpret a lot of things. A lot of our assumptions have to do with the culture when we were backward. Our culture is dynamic. We should not hold on to those days when we valued boys because then they were warriors. We valued more children because they were farm hands for the farm. These days are very different. And trust me, I don't have children, but I know if I drop dead today, my legacy is secured, even today. If I don't accomplish anything more, I still have a huge legacy.
Francisca says, Uncle, I love this discussion today. I pray our churches get to talk about it because it's a big deal.
The churches won't talk about it because it doesn't make for offertory. You can't raise funds on childlessness, trust me. You raise funds on promising people children. And that is why we can't discuss this in church.
Uncle, what are some of the suspicions that could come up in marriages as a result of childlessness?
That is when you question your partner's youthful days. How many abortions did you have when you were young? Is your womb still healthy? What are you doing with that person? Who called you? Maybe it's we are not having children because you are having all your energies expended outside on a relationship with another girl out there. That is why when you come home, you really are not in the mood. You are never in the mood to have sex because you're doing this thing outside. Those are a few of the suspicions.
We could share. Dear Bo says, Uncle, my Ukrainian girlfriend says hello. She likes watching you since I introduced her to Uncle. She's Anna.
Anna, it's good to see you. And Anna, should Kweku bring you to Ghana? Tell Kweku to make sure we meet you. We would like to have you in the studio.
From Abuna, Uncle, I love this topic. Thank you so much. I got married to this white man 3 months ago. We are both really looking for kids. Thanks so much. We are more than 40. Friends advise I go to the gym. Does going to the gym count? Happy Father's Day.
Well, no, it doesn't really, but it will make you feel good about yourself. And sometimes feeling good about yourself helps with intimacy. So that may be the reason why they are advising you to. All right.
Uncle, would you advise a couple who had become childless after having a miscarriage in a marriage once to go in for an artificial insemination?
I asked you a question earlier and you said it is coded.
1 million.
So, my answer is also coded.
Uncle, please don't code it.
But it's coded because at your level and in your state, this is another question you should ask. Unless that is what you meant by coded, you know. But no, the mere fact that you've had a miscarriage once doesn't mean give up. You never know, keep trying. And then look for why did the miscarriage happen. Because sometimes a woman miscarries because in her pregnancy, she was still doing too much. Sometimes a woman has to be relieved of every work, every stress, so she can incubate this baby much more effectively. So look for the reason why and don't quickly run away to something else.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know more about the coded words, please join us. Why? We take all the guests. Now, Uncle Ebo, Mami Ama says, you've been more than a father to me and many others with your life and all the exposures you've given us. God richly bless you, Uncle Ebo. I'm so proud to be associated with you. I owe the success of my marriage to God and you.
Thank you.
Louisa. Oh.
Wait, Louisa rings a bell here.
Sir.
Yeah, Louisa is a powerful name.
We miss Louisa Pound.
No, we don't know whether this is the.
No, this is not the Louisa.
Okay, all right.
But we miss Louisa.
Shout out.
Yeah. So the Louisa we're talking about, wherever you are, can say hi.
2 million. Hey, is it Ken saying we don't know which are the Kens?
Uncle.
Yes.
Okay, so we live in a society where we are forced to, first of foremost, to get married. When you get to a certain point, start asking you.
When are you getting married?
When are you getting married? Then you get married, and the question is, when are you going to get children?
Yes.
You know, and it's even gotten to the point where even now the churches have made it a big deal. You know, I've heard of pastors whose specialty is giving children. You know, and all of that. So much so that when you don't have children, it becomes a spiritual affair.
Yes.
You know, but now understanding this, that indeed it's not even everybody that's supposed to have children. How do you get knowledge, you know, and understand that it's not really that much of a big spiritual deal, so much so that it becomes much of your concern. Right now, everything has become spiritual, Uncle Ebo. So how do you decide and decipher? Which of the voices do you listen to?
Well, again, I think this is one of the few times when Ken has asked a question his size. You know,
la.
He normally will ask a question not his size, just like Lechu has done today. But so there is hope. I think this Eid day is a good day. Listen, you don't owe anybody an explanation about your life. You don't. And nobody has a right to interfere in your life and tell you what kind of life you should have and not have. Nobody has that right. Once you give other people the right to dictate and push you and put pressure on you about your life, then you deserve whatever headache that brings you, because you have relinquished a right. It is my life. Shut up. If I haven't come to you to express a concern, don't come and tell me you are concerned. This is not concern. This is being busybody. Get out of my life. And I think Ghanaians ought to learn to do this. There are things Ghanaians ought to learn. One, it isn't every question you should answer. And it isn't everybody who has a right to ask you a question. If somebody asks you, when are you getting married? Who is that person to ask you that question? You know, we shouldn't feel like we should answer every time. Let me end with, and I think we are done, right? Yes. No, anybody in house, you can ask your questions later. The online people's questions mean more to me than those of you who are here, because in your case, when the camera starts rolling, we can still talk. But there was a case in a church where a wedding, it was a wedding, and two ladies in the choir. One turns to the other. One is married, the other is not married. Turns to the other and asks the lady next to her, when are you going to get married? She knew that was a big issue for her choir mate, but she asked. And then the choir mate said, well, it's all with God. After the next Sunday, a couple comes to dedicate their newborn baby. So the other girl also turns to her friend and says that, you two, when are you going to have a baby dedicated? And she says she wants to die. No, there are certain questions we shouldn't ask. There are certain things we shouldn't talk about to people. We should know our place. We should know our line. There are lines that you shouldn't cross with people. But when somebody chooses to cross it, you don't cross it with them. When are you getting married? Nobody has to ask you that question. When are the children going to come? Which children? Are they your children? Have you given me children? Or are you like the person with a whole warehouse with children, so I can go with you and pick children? Let's learn to respect each other's right. And if somebody does not respect your right, don't go with them. Let them know you just crossed the line. Well, my name is Uncle Ebo, and I'm committed to your best, to helping you become your best self. Thank you for staying with me. We'll see you next week, God willing. Stay blessed.
Oh, na na na, eh, eh. King promise, yeah.
King beats, let's go.
Oh, na na na, yeah. Me say I do me a shrum, yeah. You know me say I be better past anybody. They say we sure, and your boy, no. See, so when they hustle, know they make chance pass me by. So make you do your best and use your sense. I show the stress since I put God first. Charlie, it no be race, it no be test. And Jah guide so no one can test. Yeah. So make you tell them. So we do come, no they fear them. Baba God did for my side, so no shake it.
Yeah, when you're media, on chonko na ondo. On any CCTV, they be and anyone me so. Even if I walk through the valley of death, I know the fear. Every day be Jah guide. Yeah, when you're media, on chonko na ondo. On any CCTV, they be and anyone me so. Even if I walk through the valley of death, I know the fear. Every day be Jah guide.
So make you no cry, oh. Say you gon' be, make you still try, oh. You my drum on in your me, walk that shit no good way. My petty make you no cry, you still try. Say you go be make you no cry. You my drum on in your me and die. I don't mean a song, I don't mean a dimmy. I don't mean a dimmy, team in China, cheetah. Don't mean a song, I don't mean a dimmy. Oh, yeah, team in China, cheetah.
Yeah, when you're media, on Chonko na ondo. On any CCTV, they be and anyone me so. Even if I walk through the valley of death, I know the fear. Every day be your guide. Yeah, yeah, when you're media, on Chonko na ondo. On any CCTV, they be and anyone me so. Even if I walk through the valley of death, I know the fear. Every day be your guide. Your guide.
Nyame back up and a bomb and hobby. Timwa, mo bomb and hop on a farm and hot time. Mudidi Masana mo bomb a second. Momano, Thomas almost a metro the botan, what dummy. Between me, baby crown me fear. Charlie, the surround of Pamishin media. Senior, a deep baby crab, Bumenicia, Bunyame, once we mean one Kamayashi Semuchia, woman is a Mituana Mano Mukame Tofen. One more to me, Punya Timakume. One name come for one name, yes. My mentor was an mentor was or can I say Musafa was Sankanya Mishirano, Unyamena, Washeme Bontina de Piano, and Sana, Udimi Dine Beko Piano, Kaisa Washeme, Ubeduna Wisiano, El Shaddai.
Yawanyamibia, on Chonko na ondo. On any CCTV, they be and anyone me so. Even if I walk through the valley of death, I know the fear. Every day be your guide. Yeah. Yeah, when you're media, on Chonko na ondo. On any CCTV, they be and anyone me so. Even if I walk through the valley of death, I know the fear. Every day be your guide. Your guide.